Hi, this is Matt, and you're listening to Bluegrass Jam Along, the podcast for anyone and everyone who loves bluegrass. Hey there, everybody. This is your Bluegrass Briefing for Monday, the 2nd of October, 2023. And the podcast news this week is that I won an IBMA award. I won the IBMA Momentum Industry Involvement Award for this podcast last week in Raleigh. I know a few of you knew I was going out there because I've mentioned it at the podcast before, but I went out for a few days and I had the most incredible few days in Raleigh, meeting people, hanging out with people I've interviewed, people who listen to the podcast, people I didn't know and I just met, seeing some great music, playing some great guitars, went to some awards ceremonies, just had a great time. And icing on the cake, I won the award I was nominated for, which I wasn't expecting to. I was listening to the biographies of the people in the same category as me and just thinking, wow, it's definitely not going to be me. And then they read my name out. So yeah, I'm an IBMA award winner. Nuts. Can't quite get my head around that. But it was amazing. And this week I'm going to put out a sort of new type of piece, I guess. It's going to be an episode just rounding up my experience at IBMA. I interviewed a few people while I was there. And rather than just interviewing big names you've heard of, I did a bit of a cross-section. So I've chatted to people who are there on behalf of a business, people who are there for the first time. I chatted to a volunteer. I chatted to some people you would definitely recognise. And I'll put that out later, but it was such a cool experience. I just want to share that with you and just give you a sense of what that was like. Yeah, that's my news. Other news, don't forget last week's Tom Utz and Martin Simpson episode on Nothing But Green Willow. That is still on the podcast. Go and get that, listen to that. That's a great record. I'm immensely proud of that interview. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's one of the better things I've done. And I just want you all to go and listen to it. So please do if you haven't. That's on the podcast now. But we will crack on and do a bit of Church Street news now. And the main news is really the IBMA Awards last week. There's three separate, people talk about the IBMA Awards, there's three separate ceremonies. One is the Momentum Awards, which is for people starting out in their careers, and that's the one I was at. You also get Instrumentalist of the Year. Lots of, don't just think IBMA Awards is the big shiny Thursday night ceremony. That's really exciting, but there's also the Industry Awards, and then there's the Music Awards, which is the big Thursday night thing. And there's people being recognised across the whole spectrum here. So I'm going to give you some of the headlines and highlights from the Music Awards, but do go to IBMA's website and just have a look at who's won all the other awards, because bluegrass is like a broad church and a big family, and it takes all members of that family for it to do what it does. And I think celebrating some of the smaller people as well as the bigger people is really cool. But the big awards are the ones everybody gets excited about. I understand that. So just some of the highlights from that. Billy Strings, Entertainer of the Year, third year in a row. Billy is officially really entertaining. Vocal Group of the Year was Authentic Unlimited. Instrumental Group of the Year this year, Travelling McCory's. Molly Tuttle did incredibly. Again, Song of the Year for Crooked Tree, Album of the Year for Crooked Tree, and Female Vocalist of the Year. Male vocalist was Greg Blake. Banjo Player of the Year was Kristen Scott Benson. Fiddle Player of the Year, Jason Carter. Guitar Player of the Year, Trey Hensley this year, which is really cool. There's a whole list of people who've won these awards. Go to the IBM website and check them all out. And just, yeah, it's great. It's a nice thing this point of year just to celebrate bluegrass and all the people involved in it. And it was amazing to go over and be a part of that. But yeah, IBMA, that's the news this week. Also, Sarah Jarosz, as I mentioned, she has a new album coming out called Polaroid Lovers. That's going to be out in January. There's a single out so far, which is already on the playlist. But yeah, get that in your diaries for January, the new Sarah Jarosz record. That's it for Church Street News. We're going to move on to the Grass is New and the new releases. And I think there's probably going to be a little bit more in the new releases section from now on, because I got to chat to quite a few people from record labels while I was at IBMA. And I think I'm going to start getting some more news sent to me, which is great. So I'll be able to update you on some more stuff. First thing, though, is the Martin Simpson and Tom Utz record, Nothing But Green Willow, we talked about last week. It's out, came out on Friday. Listen to it, stream it, buy it, whatever. Buy it, I would say, because the sleeve notes and the packaging are great on that one. But if you're not going to buy it, go stream it, have a listen. It is fantastic. Another record we've talked about recently here, More Than a Whisper, celebrating the music of Nancy Griffith, is out now on Rounder. There have been a couple of singles from that, but the whole thing's out now. Go and listen to that. That's really cool as well. Friend of the podcast, Jason Kaiser. You'll remember Jason from the Church Street Blues 40th anniversary episodes. Jason is a great jazz guitarist and flat picker who studied with Wyatt Rice. And he's got a new single called The Old Rugged Cross coming out next week, so I'll stick that in the playlist to remind you about that next week. There's a new double album compilation of the Brother Boys on Bear Family Records, which was put together by Ted Olson, who did those fantastic liner notes for the Doc Watson box set recently, but also did the liner notes for Nothing But Green Willow. And it brings together recordings from 1988 to 2022. It's called On the Honky Tonk Highway with the Brother Boys. And it includes performances from people like Norman and Nancy Blake, Sam Bush, Jerry Douglas, Missy Raines, Adam Steffi. They all contributed to this. So that's an interesting one. Go and check that out. And there's on the playlist also a new single by Larry Cordell called November Wind, which was co-written with Larry Shell and Trey Hensley. So check that out. That is also on the playlist. Those are your new releases this week. Go and have a listen. Go and check them out. I'll stick links to the playlist in the show notes so you can go and have a listen to what's coming up. That's our new releases. Let's move on to Scroll On Buddy. And unsurprisingly, my social feed this week has been full of IBMA in all its forms. Just seeing the bands, the showcases, like moments. It's the fascinating thing for me being at IBMA was it was a little bit like wandering through my Instagram feed because there's so many faces I recognised. I'd be talking to somebody and turn around and there'd be somebody that I knew. I'd bump into people that I've chatted to, spoken to, who've liked each other's content, but I don't know them, and suddenly there they are. I was standing in a hotel corridor watching East Nash Grass through a hotel room doorway. Sierra Ferrell turned up and sang with them, and just so many of those moments that I've watched before on social media were suddenly there right in front of me. And it was an incredible experience just to see it all come to life. But yeah, I've just also really enjoyed seeing everybody posting their moments because there's so much goes on at IBMA. For every one thing you're doing, there are 6 things you're not doing. And it was amazing to just follow, when I'm not there. Next time I'm sure I will be glued to my Instagram feed, seeing all the fun that I'm missing. Just a really cool thing. So yeah, really nice. And just the final bit of, sometimes when I've got something I'm listening to, I'll tell you about it. I picked up a bunch of CDs at IBMA, and I'm going to work through them over the coming weeks. A couple of bits that I really wanted to get, some bits that I sort of picked up on the off chance, and some bits that were given to me. And so I've been listening to Stillhouse Junkies' latest record, Small Towns. I saw them, I think I saw at least bits of 4 of their sets over the course of 3 days, and they're great. Really enjoyed that, so I'm listening to the Stillhouse Junkies record. I'll put something off that on the playlist as well. And what else? I'm listening to a record called Sagebrush Continuum by Alexander Graf, who I bumped into at IBMA and spent quite a bit of time with in the end, actually. Great guy, really good picker, great record. I know he's working on another one now. That's going to be coming together at some point. But yeah, I've been listening to those. I'm looking forward to digging into this pile of CDs I've got sat right in front of me on my desk now. So many different things to dig through. But that's it. I've had an amazing past week and feel incredibly lucky and privileged to be part of it. People tell me that Bluegrass is a family and that IBMA is like a big family reunion, and I feel really lucky that I've felt like part of that family. It's just that, really. I'm putting the episode out on Wednesday, which brings together a few interviews from IBMA with some of my thoughts, and I think that'll be an interesting one. But other than that, I will be back next week with another briefing and some more stuff to come. Have a fantastic week. I'll see you next time, and happy picking. Bluegrass Jam Along is proud to be sponsored by Collings Guitars and Mandolins, making some of the finest guitars and mandolins in the world since the 1970s. Visit collingsguitars.com and find out why.